Welcome to another episode of Jasmine's First Impression Sports Talk. Tonight is going to be a pretty in depth one, obviously, with all the NFL talk from today and yesterday. There's some big news coming out of the NFL, so let's get started.
Welcome to Jasmine Pollock. Welcome to Jasmine Pollock's First Impression Sports Talk, the fastest growing sports talk show in the country. And now, here's your host, Jasmine Pollock.
Welcome back to Jasmine's First Impression Sports Talk. So let's get started. Jeremiah, I know we talked about it pre-show. Let's talk about what happened yesterday. We're going to start from yesterday into today and the news that came out today. So Jeremiah, let's start with Aaron Rodgers. Now, I'm a Packers fan. The world is waiting on what Aaron's going to do. Is he going to retire? Is he going to get traded? Is he going to stay? There was just a lot of questions. And we come to find out that there was a deal, 4 years, $200 million, $50 million a year. He hasn't signed the contract yet, but Jeremiah, what was your thoughts that Aaron said he's coming back and them giving him that big of a contract?
Well, to me, I had I guess a 65% of no surprise, because this is my thing. In my hearts to hearts, I already knew Aaron has been here for so long, has created a connection so close, especially with the fans and also the organization, even Green Bay. He loves the weather and everything. And him making, a step to maybe go to a different team like Denver or even another team, it just wouldn't feel right in his book. And I feel like is right where it is written, and I feel like he's right where he needs to be, especially a Packer, because I see him, being drafted by the Packers and also retiring as a Packer. Especially what a huge deal, that is. I know he took a cleansing moment before, especially in that off season after the playoffs, and it wasn't really a terrible playoff loss, but at the same time, if he would try to go to a different team, let's just say the Broncos have everything in place, got him his quarterback coach and everything, I think it would have been still an uncertainty when it comes to him going to a different team. And it can kind of be the same thing he will have at the Green Bay. Why not stay at Green Bay, have the same resources, and plus, because you already know the Packers with him there, they're still going to be a number one team. Regular season, it doesn't matter, because that's never going to leave. This team still has the dynamic that is still there. It's just all about taking that next step for them. And to be honest,
Yeah, I love that saying that you said at the end, them taking that next step. And for the past 3 years, 2 years, yeah, 2, 3 years, I was really seeing our team head in the right direction ever since we hired Matt LaFleur. And, my biggest question was over the years being a Packers fan is how can the defense improve? I know that was one of our weakest links on our whole team. And, I thought that our defense this past season, was the best I've seen it. Players were stepping up, and then we didn't have all of our players that we needed, and they came back for the playoff game, and I was really excited for that. And my defense played the way it was supposed to play in that game. It was just then here comes special teams falling apart, then the offense becoming lackluster. So I was very distraught. I'm still not happy about how the season ended because I thought this team was the better team out of the years that Matt LaFleur's been with us. So I was really disappointed. And then to see what Aaron was going to do, because I know he's tired. I know Packer Nation, we're tired of these heartbreaking losses every time, where we think that our team is right there. We have the pieces, we have the coaches, we have the quarterback to get to that next level. And unfortunately, we come up short. Something doesn't fall through. And it wasn't to say the 49ers were a better team at all. It was just the fact of execution and just not, playing as a unit, obviously. But the biggest question was, what is Aaron Rodgers going to do? Is Aaron Rodgers going to stay? Is Aaron Rodgers going to leave? Is Aaron Rodgers going to retire? And I know he was saying that he was strongly considering wanting to be traded to the Broncos as well, and or retiring. And I'm thankful that he's come back because I don't think Green Bay is Green Bay without Aaron at this time. This man is everything Green Bay. I want our team to get to the next level. I'm tired of these heartbreaking losses. I want to see us build around him and give him more. You know what I mean? And I think, you know, that draft pick with Jordan Love, I still go back to that. That was an unnecessary pick because Aaron's still playing at a good enough level to compete with all these other good quarterbacks in this league. He's still able to compete, so we didn't need to get that draft pick. That draft pick could have been on one of these that receiving class that happened during that draft. So it was very unfortunate. But Jeremiah, do you think, being that Aaron's coming back and we also franchise tag Devontae Adams, what do you think the team is going to look like next year? Are we going to, finally break the mold and go into free agency? Or we're going to wait till the draft? What are we going to do? What do you think?
My biggest question when it comes to the Green Bay Packers is mostly what are they going to do with their certain assets that they do have, their assets and plus their liabilities. We already know when it came to last season, getting rid of your special teams coach, bringing back a new form, of a different team around yourself. You're bringing back Adams, and plus you're bringing back Aaron and everybody. So it's going to be no question that they're going to be a number one team. But also when it comes to the certainty of the future, I'm looking down the line when it comes to their liabilities. I would say mostly of a Jordan Love and other ones that they kind of have lingering around. What is going to be their current future? Because I know when it comes to Aaron's contract and everything else that's like that, he has 4 to 5 years, supposedly is going to be that much. But if it is that much, I'm kind of worried about what can you do now to kind of build yourself for right now, because we've seen so many teams like the Buccaneers, how they trade a lot of their picks and everything to get a lot of different players around them, or what the Broncos just did with acquiring Russell Wilson. For them to have right now, I feel like they should be all in, especially for this year, because there's a certain window that's almost closing. Aaron's gonna be getting older. Devontae, he's making himself into a superstar, and when Aaron is getting to that certain age, it's best that you guys win right now.
I agree with that, and I love that you put what the other teams did. And I always go back to when Brady first went to Tampa, next door to me. When he went to Tampa, they already had the weapons. They had Godwin, they had Evans, they had the weapons already. But they were like, Brady, we're going to get you Gronk, we're going to get you AB, we're going to get you all these people. And we're going to get you anything possible. We're going to get Leonard Fournette, anything possible to help you win. And that was Brady's first year. And of course, that's always because of who Brady is and what he stands for and what he did in New England. But when you look at all these teams, even Matthew Stafford, they got him Odell. He was able to have Cooper Kupp and all these guys, and then have a defense on the other side that can hold their end of the bargain. And when I look at the Packers, you have Aaron Rodgers. He's one of the great quarterbacks in this league. And even though people say what they say about him, but he's still putting up big numbers, back-to-back MVP seasons. And with what he has, he's able to have that MVP season. So it's unfortunate. I want to see what can my team give. Why can't we give Aaron that same thing? You know what I mean? Like, there's been many times, and even I go back to Odell. Odell was considering coming to Green Bay before he went to LA, but they weren't giving him enough money. And I'm just like, why is it every season I see, oh, we don't go into free agency. But I mean, come on. Like, there's a lot of quarterbacks who may not be on the level as Aaron, have the most weapons. When you looked at the Cardinals, Kyler Murray was able to get D-Hop and all these guys. AJ Green too. He was able to get that. And you can see these teams are really building around him. They're really building around their quarterback. Even Russell, and also Russell's my other favorite quarterback too. When you look at it, he got weapons all over the field. And Aaron, I would rather, and Devontae is that I love Devontae, but where's that other person or other people that we can say, hey, and I love Lazard too. I think Lazard is also good. He's a good blocking receiver, but where's the tight ends? Where is that for Aaron? You know what exactly. I mean? So that's my biggest question for our organization. And I hope that this season we can start diving into free agency and change that and change the whole dynamic of what Green Bay stands for. But I just really want to see us build around Aaron a lot more than what we have been the past few years. That's all I'm asking. Just give the man more. Give him more. Not just Devontae, not just okay, we're gonna get these guys and just recruit and all these different things. There's nothing wrong with that. But I want to see us get somebody else with a name that we know that can be opposite side of Devontae Adams that like leaves the pressure off of him and it leaves the pressure off of Aaron because okay, we all know what Devontae stands for, but we have somebody on the other side that can catch the ball and run the routes right. That's all I'm asking. But that wraps up this segment. We're going to get into Russell Wilson being traded to the Denver Broncos and Carson Wentz being traded to the Washington Commanders. We'll be right back with a quick break.
Water. It's everywhere. Water. It's everywhere. We drink it, we bathe with it, we cook with it. Coffee's made with water. Toilets won't flush without it. It's used for washing clothes, dishes, utensils, pots, pans, floors, and our teeth. Plants and crops need water, animals drink it, and fish need it too. And don't forget, we can have a lot of fun in the water. Water. What will we do without it?
Slow roasted over hickory fire and pulled by hand. This is the way pit pork has always been done. Pulled pork lovers, rejoice. The smoky old days are back at the Smoke Shack. From the creative team that brought you the Browning Project and Dead by Morning comes a new thriller that will change the way you look at white-collar crime forever. Falling from the Sky.
You're watching Jasmine Pollock's First Impressions Sports Talk. Be sure to join Jasmine every week for great conversation on the NBA, NFL, and a wide variety of sports topics. To see past episodes of First Impressions Sports Talk, go to YouTube and search First Impressions Sports Talk. You can connect with Jasmine on LinkedIn by searching Jasmine Pollock. And now, back to more First Impressions Sports Talk.
Welcome back to First Impressions Sports Talk. And we're going to get into this other segment, Russell Wilson being traded to the Denver Broncos. Now, as a Seahawks fan, which is my second team, I don't know how I felt because I don't dislike the Broncos, obviously, because my dad is a Broncos fan. So, I kind of root for them here and there. But, I found it I was very happy for Russell because I felt like in Seattle, my team has not been good for the past couple of years now. There's been a ton of injuries, a lot of question marks on defense. It just wasn't the Legion of Boom like I known to love it back in 2013 and 2012. And him being traded was a huge thing because I'm gonna be honest, I did not see it coming. I wasn't expecting that to happen that quickly. That wasn't even a thought in my head. But Jim, I want to bring you in. What was your reaction to Russell Wilson being traded to the Denver Broncos? Like, what were your thoughts?
First of all, it came out of the blue. Waking up that morning, doing everything in my routine I see on the news, like it's a trade for Russell to go to the Denver Broncos. Now, inside of me, it's kind of a little bit depressing because it's like end of a dynasty, especially when I hold dynasty, but it's just the end of a huge run for the Seahawks. I'm just thinking back then when I used to watch the Seahawks always being on top, going against the Brady and the Patriots, and also being up there in the NFC, and just seeing these last, few years, I hate to just say it's been very depressing for a lot of Seahawks fans, especially, just seeing how a lot of it's, the transactions went, especially with Russell, getting hurt last season, but also having a bad O-line. And you have the certain potential there, but just things just didn't go your way. And it just looked very, bad and just needed to have a move on. Also, Pete Carroll over there. And always remember the times of Beast Mode over there, plus Richard Sherman, everything. But now that Russell is going to the Denver Broncos, I feel like, people cannot forget how great Russell Wilson is. Especially, don't let last year fool you when it came to after, his injury when he came back. And, he wasn't all the way the same, especially coming back with a bad O-line. But how he's going to come this season right here, we already know how he does in his off season. He takes care of his body. He puts a bunch of money, especially in his body. He's one of the top athletes that put so much money in his body. Is him, LeBron, and a couple of others. But I know when it comes to Russell, he's not going to cheat you when it comes to going that extra mile, getting you a certain win, especially there with Judy. And plus, not to mention, Von Miller could even come back. Like we were just talking in pre-show, he can't come back. And I think you're working with some sauce because, and not to mention, you have Packers' old quarterback coach and having different assets around him that can actually take him to a different level. And, I think that it is a sweet move for the Denver Broncos, but also it's also confusing for the Seahawks as well, because where are they going to go from here?
But I think when it comes to that, as a Seahawks fan, I saw there was a slow divide ever since that final play of that Super Bowl against the Patriots. When Russell threw that pick at the 1 yard line, that's where it started. That's where the whole crumbling, the end of Legion of Boom started. When I look at him going to Denver, I'm happy for Russell. Yes. I think I'm still going to be a Seahawks fan. There's still questions that are going to be had, but I'm happy for Russell because Russell is a very, very good quarterback. And I feel that he's going to all the Denver, and we've talked about this before. My dad's talked about it. All Denver needed was a quarterback consistently. That's all they needed.
Exactly.
They needed somebody who can deliver the ball and somebody who can be in that pocket and impose their will on other defenses. Ever since Peyton Manning left, they had 11 to 15 different quarterbacks. Yes. That is terrible. And they have never, and I thought it would be Drew Lock because he was promising when he was in Missouri, and I was like, okay, they're going to be pretty good. Teddy Bridgewater, that was promising. Didn't work out. There was just a lot going on. All Denver needed was a quarterback that can deliver the ball. They have the weapons, and I'm telling you, he has a much better O-line than he did in Seattle. Seattle's O-line was very bad, and that's why our running backs couldn't stay healthy. Russell couldn't stay healthy. Now he's able to have an O-line that's a pretty better than the O-line he had. He has the weapons. He had weapons in Seattle, of course, but now you have the protection. I think you have a good coach, and that was our old offensive coordinator in Green Bay. He was hired this year, and he's a very good offensive coordinator, and I think he's going to implement a lot of things for the offense. Then when you look at the defensive side of the ball, we forget this Broncos defense is not bad. It's not bad at all. I mean, they have a good back end. They can get after the quarterback, and they were third in the league in points. So they were able to stop people from scoring. And then you add Von Miller back, they're gonna be a serious team, and I'm very excited to see this whole AFC West with Patrick Mahomes, Justin Herbert, Derek Carr, and Russell now. And not to mention Derek Carr, that Raiders team, they just hired Josh McDaniels from the Patriots, offensive coordinator, head coach. That's gonna be an offensive explosion in that division. If you think I'm joking, however, I think that the Broncos defense is better than the defenses in that division. Yes. And then you could say the Chargers as well, but that division is going to explode offensively. You're going to see a bunch of big numbers, I think. But Jeremiah, do you think now that Russell's here in Denver, is that going to put them back on the map as Super Bowl? Because we saw them skyrocket to number 5 in the odds. What do you think about that? Them being in the Super Bowl bubble now?
I think you can put them in certain talks because we haven't seen them actually one game together. Because you already know. The AFC, like you just said before, is very stacked with quarterbacks right now, more than the NFC is. The AFC have so many young and already kind of ahead of the game quarterbacks. With Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, Derek Carr, and different ones, like you were saying, going down the list, even Justin Herbert. And you have more, behind them. But of course, I'm not going to ever deny a Russell Wilson because I already know what his resume stands for, especially what he did and prior and everything that, is installed inside of him. Plus, him being of a certain age, being much older, more experienced, I'm never going to put past that. And I feel like with him being around all these younger players, they can actually feed off of him. And I feel like he can kind of take this team to a different type of level rather than what younger quarterbacks in the AFC, they're just getting started. But I feel like Russell, he's seen this many of times and he knows I can get, to that next level and I can get a championship. I feel like he has that inside of him, and I feel like he can install that inside this team to get that.
I just think the AFC is loaded at quarterback. I think the future being that Brady's retired, being that Drew Brees is retired, Aaron's on the brink of reaching that point, Ben Roethlisberger. The NFL quarterbacks, that it's in good hands. Like I'm really excited for these young quarterbacks. They're taking a whole life of their own. When you look at Josh Allen, Joe Burrow, when you look at Patrick Mahomes, Justin Herbert, there's a lot of quarterbacks in this league they're up and coming. I'm really excited to see these young guys play. And the AFC is going to be fun to watch next season. You got all these young quarterbacks, and then you add Russell in the mix, especially in that division with Mahomes, Justin Herbert, Carr, and Russell. That's gonna be a really good football to watch, and I'm really excited to see them go head to head. That's gonna be huge. Russell Wilson versus Mahomes, that's gonna be really awesome. I don't think people really see how great that's gonna be because we always looked at the NFC as the better team for the better conference for the past few years because of defense and star-studdedness, but now it's completely shifted. Now the AFC seems like it's becoming a lot more star-studded with quarterbacks and a lot of players and different things like that. So I'm really excited to see. But heading into another division that's not so star-studded, the NFC East. So just today, the Colts traded Carson Wentz to the Washington Commanders. I don't even know why they named it the Commanders. I don't know. I don't like the name. They should have thought about that one. But Jeremiah, when we look at the NFC East, what do you expect? They've always been the NFC East has been lackluster. It's always up for grabs because of how bad the division is. Does Carson Wentz change anything? Is he's gonna is the Washington Commanders are gonna be a team to be? What do you think? I don't think so.
When it comes to Carson Wentz on the Washington football team, listen, it's just like you having a smiley face, but then you get Carson Wentz and it's just a smiley face with a mustache on it. It's no difference when you look into it because this is my thing. Carson Wentz. Now, when it came to their team of the Colts, they had a chance to actually make the playoffs, but you know how they stumbled that bag in the last game to actually get inside there, and they lost badly. I would say, correct me wrong if I say the Jaguars they lost to. And
also the Cardinals. They lost to the Cardinals.
The Cardinals. Right, forgive me. The Cardinals. And they were such on a roll that they fall just off and just get blowed out that last game. It did not look good. And for Carson Wentz, he has his little small moments, but can you trust him always to stay healthy? That's the thing that's going into, because Washington, you guys are getting this guy already. You have already, when it comes to Heineke, you could have went into the draft and you could have aimed for a quarterback. Just be like, look, we're gonna start from the straw and we're gonna get somebody that we can actually build up. But then you're actually costing a lot of picks. And plus, you're costing your team by wasting your time getting Carson Wentz. Not saying, he doesn't, like I said before, doesn't have his good, strong moments, but you can't trust in him to lead you to a certain championship, or I can say, stay healthy.
The only thing that I can say in defense for Carson Wentz, when he was with the Eagles and they did that, they were hot. Remember that when they went on, that was their Super Bowl winning season.
Yes.
Now they were hot with him. He was rolling. That team was rolling. He gets hurt. Nasty knee injury. Then Nick Foles comes in. He takes over for the rest of the way, and then they end up beating the Patriots in that Super Bowl. I think people are still focused on that Carson Wentz of what they saw, and that nasty injury ended up costing. And I think that he's never really recovered from that either, honestly.
No.
And then that's the thing about Carson Wentz. He has those moments where you're like, dang, this kid could be really good, and then it's like, what are you doing? Like, you know what I mean? And with the Colts, I thought they were going to be a good team, and they were a good team, and I thought they were going to compete in the AFC, but Carson Wentz is not consistent. Now, for me, if I'm the Washington Commanders, me giving all those picks away, I don't think I would have done that for Carson Wentz. I really what has he done for me lately that says, you know what, I want to get him. I'm getting rid of all these picks to get Carson Wentz, especially in a division where it's very lackluster. I don't trust Dallas. I don't trust New York. I don't trust Washington and the Eagles. What are we getting out of what are we getting? And I don't think, and honestly, who is he throwing to? Does he have weapons? And I'm not saying that they can't go in the draft and put some things together and well, what they have left, or go in the free agency and do some things, but it's not desirable, you know. And if you're bringing in a new name, I mean, I wouldn't put Carson Wentz, you know, there as okay, we're the Washington Commanders now, and then Carson Wentz is our quarterback. I don't know. I don't really like that, but that whole division does not look good to me. I think it's going to be the same old division we always seen. Carson Wentz may have spurts, then not have spurts. And it's just going to be the same thing. And then guess what? It's going to be another conversation. Just is Carson Wentz a starting quarterback? There's always that conversation with him. But it's like you said, it's the injury bug he has. He stays injured. Can he stay healthy a whole season? And the answer has been no so far. He's very fragile, very. And I don't know if I'm Washington, I wouldn't have wasted all those picks on him. There's a lot of quarterbacks out there that I would have got before I got Carson Wentz, and it's going to be a test to see what is Washington going to do. What is Washington actually? Is this the start of their new era for the Commanders? Like I don't like the pick. I don't like the idea. But Jeremiah, in the NFC East, or at least that people call it, what team now that Carson Wentz is here, what team do you fear that will win the division and be a dominant force?
Oh man, I would say my top two teams, I would say is either the Eagles or I will have to say the Cowboys. Sadly for me to say the Cowboys in second. Not saying that they're going to a championship or anything, but it's either going to be both of those two teams. And I'll tell you why. I'll start first with Dallas. They're going to have some people coming back. I don't agree with them letting some of the free agents go when it comes to a lot of their big stardom. And to be honest with you, I see that they are restructuring Dak Prescott's contract and everything else. So I don't know what they're going to do when it comes to free agency and try to move some different pieces and see what they're going to do, because I know that they're trying to get a lot of things going. They did not show up, of course, in the playoffs. It's a Cowboys thing, but you already know how that goes. But when it comes to the Eagles, I see a lot of great things in their future. You already know when it came to them playing the Bucks in the first round, you already know how that thing was going to go. You know, exactly. It's a lot of different inexperienced time, but they experienced that. And with them kind of building, and you already can see they didn't have a bad season last season. They actually made it to the playoffs. Right. No matter what anybody said or anything that went against them, they still was like, we still showed up and we won much games to actually get here. They beat a lot of different teams, and I feel like they're in the best driving seat. Go in this draft, get you also some key parts that you are also missing, and just build around your young team that you already have right now. You already have a new coach already, and just put a lot of things into play. And I think they can win the NFC East if they really wanted to. It's just all about executing and staying consistent, especially for Jalen Hurts. He has to come in this year a different player than last season. I want him to kind of take charge, be a leader of this team, and kind of take control.
Yeah, I actually like that pick, the Eagles. And when I look at the NFC East division, my mom is a Giants fan, so she's always asking me what the Giants should do in order. And what's so disappointing is, and I like the Giants as well, but when I look at the NFC East, like there's a lot of talented players in the division. Like I mean, legitimate, talented, young talent, and there's a lot of talent in this division. What the issue is with the NFC East is the direction where the teams are heading is so weird. Like I said, like we talked about before, when you look at the AFC West now, what you adding Russell now, this division is going to be fun to watch. Like these divisions are going to be fun. This division is not fun to watch. It's not exciting. You have a lot of young players that are good, but it's not exciting. And to me, I agree with that. I think the Eagles, to me, have the brighter future out of the four teams because I think they put a team together. They didn't know what was going to happen, and they won enough games to get to the playoffs. You go on the road to face Tom Brady and that Bucks team. I mean, what were we expecting? But there were signs of good things, and there were signs like, okay, that we can work with this. We made it this far. Let's add things. They have a good young team. They just get, like you said, add more pieces. When I look at Dallas, and I think Dallas is the biggest disappointment because Dallas had a team that could have been good, but it's Dallas. Dallas chokes all the time. But what I think needs to happen is for the Giants need a quarterback also. The Giants need a quarterback. Seriously. The Giants have always had talent on both sides of the ball. And their defense isn't bad either. It's just the fact of quarterback play. The quarterback play in this division has not been the best. And I don't think Carson Wentz changes that by coming to the Commanders. I don't think that changes anything. But for Dallas, more so, you're getting rid of Amari Cooper and D-Law. I don't think that's a good idea because I think D-Law had his best season statistically last season.
Yep.
And then Amari Cooper, you could question because there's times he shows up, times he doesn't. Maybe his drive for the game is the same. Maybe he doesn't like Dallas. I don't know. But when I look at this Dallas team, I think their window is closed. I really do. I don't think you should have paid Dak that much money. I genuinely don't think they should have paid Zeke that much money because Zeke, after he signed that contract, Zeke has been just a regular running back. So I think this division is going to be another boring division unless somebody shocks me, which it happens. But I don't see this division eye-popping. There's going to be players here and there, maybe a game here and there. You're like, wow. But this division is not going to be exciting to me. But Jeremiah, that wraps up tonight's show. Thank you for having these conversations. There was a lot going on. I'm sure there's more to come in the NFL tonight, tomorrow, in the future. We're heading into free agency. The draft is coming up. There's a lot to talk about. But that wraps up tonight's show, everyone. Thank you for tuning in. See you guys here on Monday on Jazz's First Impression Sports Talk at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Good night.